Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Superheroes, Movies, and Superhero Movies. I'm your host, Justin Speck, and again, I am joined by SmoothJStew. How you doing, Stu?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Justin?
I'm doing great. I'm glad you're here talking about another DC animated film. Today we're talking about Superman Doomsday, released in 2007, directed by Bruce Timm, Lauren Montgomery, and Brandon Vietti, I think is probably how you say it, maybe. Written by Duane Capizzi from a story by Duane Capizzi and Bruce Timm, and obviously based on the DC Comics' The Death of Superman. I kind of consider this the first of the DC animated movies, even though I know it's not. Like Batman Mask of the Phantasm, obviously, and Batman Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, and even Superman Brainiac Attacks came out. But those were, in a way, kind of standalone. I mean, these are standalone movies too, but this was the movie. This was the movie that really kind of kicked off the DC. I don't know how to describe it other than the DC animated movies that have just been coming out for the last 14 years.
I was gonna say universe, but some of the movies are in their own universe.
Right.
But yeah, it really kicked off the official start of the DC animated films.
Yeah.
Because like you said, a handful of them came out before, and some they were pretty good, but this is when they started really taking the animation seriously on the movie route.
Right. And they were popping them out. I mean, they still are. They're popping them out. I think they were doing, this was in 2007, and the next one I think was 2008. But after that, they were putting out 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah, they did the same thing that the MCU did probably before the MCU.
Right. And they're still doing them. So I guess, people are buying them and they're making money off of them because 14 years later, they're, Batman Long Halloween Part 2 just came out not that long ago. And, the Injustice movie is going to come out later. I don't know if it's this year or next year, but it's coming out soon.
I believe it's this year.
Yeah. So,
and you got dweebs like us buying it and reviewing it. So.
I mean, pretty much ever since this first movie, I've bought every single one that has come out, and I've actually had to buy a couple of them twice because I bought them on DVD first, and then I went back and bought them on Blu-ray.
I'm jealous. Even I don't have all of them. I still got about a third to go. I got most of the ones from the DC animated, the official DC animated movie universe that started with Flashpoint Paradox,
right? And
I have most of the other ones, or maybe about half of the other ones. I got all the Batman ones except Return of the Joker and Mystery of the Batwoman. I don't have those.
I don't have that one either. I've got Return of the Joker because it's digital, I guess, technically. I don't have it physical media, but I bought Batman Beyond was on sale or something, the digital series. So I bought the series and it came as like part of part of the package.
Yeah.
So I've got it digitally, but I don't have Mystery of the Batwoman. I have seen it though, but I don't own it. And I think that's the only one because I've got all the other ones. Whether it's physical or digital. I think the only two that I own solely digitally are Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, and Superman Brainiac Attacks. Okay. Everything else I've got a physical copy of. So, but yeah, this one I was really stoked about this one when it was first announced because I mean, the death of Superman. That's it's
one of the greatest comic book stories ever written.
Right. Like, and so the fact that they were making an animated movie out of it, I could not wait. So yeah, bought it the day it came out, watched it, really enjoyed it. But at the same time, I had some mixed feelings, I guess. What was your initial reaction the first time you watched it, if you can remember?
The first time I watched it, I really liked it. I was when did this movie come out again? Was it released?
2007. Yeah.
2007. So I didn't see it until 2010. I was 20.
Okay.
And me and my boss at the time, when I worked at the movie theater, we were talking about it, and I loved it. And when he realized how much I like it, he was like, "You like that?" And I felt so defeated. I was like, "Yeah, like it's not that bad." it was good. Like no, it was trash. I'm sorry. But no, I thought it was dope the first time around, and then I watched it again maybe like 3 years later, and I was like, okay, this isn't as good as I thought it once was.
Right.
But I'm still enjoying it. And now watching it this last time, it's going down a little bit more.
Really?
Yeah, just because like so many other things have come after it that are so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Um,
My thought watching it this time, because I hadn't seen it in several years.
uh-huh.
This was probably maybe the third time I've seen it, and I remember liking it. I don't remember being like amazed by it, but I remember really liking it. And this time watching it, I still like it, but I was kind of surprised at how far the animation has come in those 14 years.
Yep.
Like, there are so many really good and good-looking animated movies in DC's collection, and this one, like the opening credits, that was actually the very first note I took was the opening credits. I was like, these opening credits just feel cheap.
Yeah.
Like it was.
Yeah.
It felt like a straight to video kind of movie.
Yes,
it
did. One thing that I took that was actually one of the first things that I took notes on. That it felt like it was an imitation of the Bruce Timm universe.
Yeah.
Even though he wrote it and directed it, it didn't feel Bruce Timm.
Right. It felt like somebody was trying to kind of copy the style, but at the same time make it a little bit their own.
Yeah.
And I really do wish that it had just been Tim Daly, the cast of Superman the Animated Series with that style, and it could be the same story, but because you're right, it looks very similar to that type of animation.
Yeah, but it's
just a little different. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of feels the look of it feels like somebody's imitating him.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that I really don't. I like most of the animation in the movie, but the one thing I really don't like is the weird cheekbones on Superman.
Yes.
It kind of almost makes him look old.
Yeah.
And I don't really understand why they chose to do that.
Yeah.
Other than maybe they just needed to make it look different than the Bruce Timm Superman, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Every time I see that, and this might be the same reason, but every time I see that, I'm reminded of Superman in the first season of Justice League. He had the cheekbones.
Oh yeah.
And fans hated it, and they were very vocal about it, so they got rid of it. Yeah. So
maybe I wonder if that was a Bruce Timm thing. Like maybe Bruce Timm really wanted him to have these weird cheekbones and
well, I think the idea was for his face to be chiseled, like
right.
he is like a Greek god of a man, I guess. Yeah. But
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work for that style of animation.
Right. I agree. Now that you've watched it again and your view on it is kind of going down a little bit, what are some of the other things that have detracted from your viewing experience this time?
There are quite a few. The animation, that like we just said, it's come so far in the last 14 years.
14 years, yeah.
Yeah. You could tell they were just trying to get used to telling that type of story and not having to split it up in the 30-minute episodes.
Right.
And I realized that they chose the wrong story to do for their first one.
Yeah.
That's something that you build up to.
Right.
Even if it's not in a like a cinematic universe, you just, throw a couple Superman movies out there, get the public talking about them again, right. And then, drop the
then do
the
Death
Doomsday.
of Superman.
Yeah.
Well, and they eventually did do it a lot better with the two movie, they did Death of Superman.
I cannot wait to review that.
Right. Because that was what I was going to say. When the first time I saw it, I liked it. I did have an issue with the way Superman looked, but the animation at the time, I didn't have anything to compare it to other than Superman the Animated Series or Batman the Animated Series. So and it looked similar to that. So I was, I liked it at the time. But one of the things that I was really disappointed with during the first viewing was his death comes very quick. I mean, it's a short movie. It's only an hour and 17 minutes. So his death comes very quickly. The fight with Doomsday does not last very long.
I think that his actual screen time was like 8 minutes.
Yeah, it was very, very short. And then there was only one Superman that comes back. It was basically just a very butchered, cut, slimmed down version of the comics that we all know and love.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that I remember being a little disappointed by that. I was like, they could have done a lot better with. I mean, it's an animated movie. You can do whatever you want in an animated movie. They should have
yeah.
had
Now that,
Superboy and the Eradicator and
yeah,
Cyborg
yeah,
Superman, but
yeah. And now that you said it was like butchered down, it kind of reminds me of the game Telephone.
right,
So when you by the time the information gets to you, it's so bare bones.
right,
This is what that was. This is the telephone version of Death of Superman.
yeah, absolutely, yeah, you're right.
Hmm.
It was like a friend telling a friend telling a friend, the story of the
Yeah,
comic they read.
yeah,
I remember liking the movie for what it was, but I remember thinking like, man, they could have done so much better with the whole story.
yeah, yeah. And one of the things about the fake Superman, the Superman clone, he was actually they had intended on doing all four,
Hmm.
but they couldn't, so they kind of made him a composite
Right,
of all four of them. So he's a clone like Superboy.
right.
Um, he
Eradicator kills
he
criminals.
yeah,
Yeah,
he kills criminals like Eradicator. Um, and he's trying to convince everybody that he's the real deal, even trying to convince himself by
right.
being Hank Henshaw.
Right, right. Yeah, and so like I said, like I don't know. These animated movies have gotten longer over the years too. I think a lot of the first few are an hour and 15, or like I remember Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. I was real excited for
Mm-hmm.
that one too because I liked that comic at the time. That one's only
Mm-hmm.
like 67 minutes or something. It's like an hour and 7 minutes. And now they're
Yeah.
consistently an hour and 20 or an hour or even 90 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that was just the kind of the restrictions of animation at the time. It just took them. It was a lot harder to make a long
Mm-hmm.
movie, so they usually kind of just averaged about an hour and 15 or so, or what. And
Mm-hmm.
so they, I'm assuming they knew, okay, we have to tell the story of the death and return of Superman, but within this very short time frame. And like you said, maybe they shouldn't have started with the death of Superman. Maybe they should have started with a different Superman story.
Yeah, yeah. They I mean you got a few to pick from. Um, and like I said, just kind of build up that interest for
Mm-hmm.
Superman, like as a solo hero, not part of the Justice League, because at that
Right.
time it was all about the Justice League.
Right.
Um, because you had Justice League Unlimited on the air, or at least reruns
Recently, yeah.
had just started. But yeah, build up that interest for Superman, and then go ahead and drop the Superman Doomsday.
Yeah.
That way it would have held more weight.
Right. And I could maybe have understood it if, like I said, they had cast Tim Daly and made it a continuation of Superman, or even George Newbern, and they had made a continuation of
Yes,
either Justice
yes.
League or.
I actually prefer
Do you?
George Newbern
Nice.
over Tim Daly.
That's cool.
It used to be Tim Daly
Yeah.
because he was the original,
Yeah.
but I really like George's voice. Like
Yeah.
he fits so well.
Yeah. I agree. They're both great, and so I don't. If I had to
Mhm.
choose, I don't know. I've watched more Superman the animated series than I have Justice League, but I know in Superman Shazam: Return of the Black Adam, it's George Newbern, and I loved him in
Yeah,
that. So yeah, it's hard. It'd be a hard choice to pick,
yeah.
but either way, if they had cast one of those guys and the animation style had matched one of those shows,
Hmm.
then it would made a little bit more sense. They got into the death of Superman. They could have
Hmm.
made it kind of a continuation of that stuff, but instead they recast it, had the animation style a little different. So this is, to the viewers, this is something new, and they
Hmm.
went straight for the death of Superman. So yeah, I don't know why they did that. They could have had him fight. I mean, there is Brainiac Attacks straight to video movie, so they could have had him fight any other character. They could have had. I mean, they could have just had Lex Luthor and established that whole thing, or they could have had, Brainiac or Metallo or Livewire or somebody, that
Yeah,
for him to
anybody.
kind of
Yeah,
fight.
I'm not. Superman's rogues gallery isn't as vast as Batman's
No,
rogue
it's
gallery,
not.
or like
Yeah,
somebody like Spider-Man.
right.
Um, but he does have a few hitters in there that people would like to see, and they definitely could have worked as um a precursor, kind of showing different different sides of Superman. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And then once we kind of learn him as a character, learning him over again,
Hmm.
um, then Superman Doomsday could hold a little bit more weight. And I definitely wasn't feeling the abbreviated runtime
Right.
because
No, I wasn't either.
that's a lot. That's a lot of story to try to cram into an hour and 14 minutes.
It is. Yep. And you can kind of feel it in this movie too that there was a scene with Lex Luthor where he is talking to himself basically, but he's also kind of talking to Superman's supposedly dead body,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just kind of describing everything he had just done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
hated that
so it was
scene.
just that it's like not very well written, I guess, because what Lex Luthor wouldn't do that really. He wouldn't just walk around
No.
being like, I cloned you, Superman, and I made I made an evil version of you or whatever. It was just he was flat out
I'm
telling the
describing my evil
audience.
plan so the viewers will know.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So that wasn't very good either. Speaking of the animation from earlier, the
Mhm.
second note I wrote was the very first time we see Lois. I don't know, it's just a weird shot, but Lois's head looks just huge on her body.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
the weirdest
I
thing.
thought the same thing. It kind of reminded me of Helga from Hey Arnold. Like it's very
Right.
circular, and then her neck is so small. Like
Yeah.
it yeah, it I was not feeling that at all. Just a lot of the character designs I
Yeah.
didn't like. I didn't like Lois's character design. Superman's was okay. It would have been fine without the cheekbones.
Right.
Um I didn't like Lex Luthor. I thought Lex Luthor was poorly drawn.
Yeah. I wasn't They made him like super skinny
Slender.
and
Yeah.
yeah, and I remember not really being a huge fan of him the first time I saw him either. I
Yeah.
like that actor a lot, James Marsters, who voices
Yes.
him.
That's Brainiac on Smallville.
That's right. He was also Spike on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I
Yeah.
don't know if you ever watched that. But he's cool, but I don't know, when I warmed up to him as the movie went on. But when he
Yeah.
first was on screen and he started talking, I was like, I don't know if I don't know if this guy feels like Lex Luthor to me. And part of that is the character design.
Mhm.
And like I said, I warmed up to the voice, I think, by the end of the movie. But
Yeah.
I mean, me again, it's just kind of like the Tim Daly thing. Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor was just about perfect.
Yes.
And so that's kind of who I always hear in my brain when I'm thinking about Lex Luthor, or at least like in the animated stuff.
Yeah.
Of course, then you got Gene Hackman too, so you can't really beat Gene Hackman. But
Well, for me, I tend to hear Kevin Spacey's voice.
yeah,
I really like even though I think we had a discussion about Superman Returns.
mm-hmm.
Even though I didn't always think the movie was great, I think it's great now.
Yeah,
But even though I didn't always think it was great, I always loved his Lex Luthor.
yeah, oh yeah,
Because it was reminiscent of Gene Hackman, but Kevin Spacey was definitely doing his own thing.
Yeah.
And it worked so well. I love him as Lex Luthor.
I do too. I agree. And when he was first announced as Lex Luthor, I remember being like, "That is incredible!" And he did. He killed it, man. He was a great Lex Luthor.
Yes, he was a great Lex Luthor. So I always hear him as far as like reading it in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as my favorite live action version, it's probably Michael Rosenbaum.
Yeah, he's amazing too. Yeah, you can't. And it's funny because he actually kind of almost looks a little bit more like the Lex Luthor from this movie.
Yeah, he's
kind of
slender, got the
Lex
long
Luthor.
hair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, he is maybe he might be the best. I mean, Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor. I was disappointed when he left the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thankful that he actually came back for the last few episodes,
Mm-hmm.
So we got to see him here and there. But yeah, he is a fantastic Lex Luthor. I saw Michael Rosenbaum one time. Go ahead.
I saw him as well.
Did you?
At a Comic-Con. I didn't meet him, but I was in his presence.
Nice. I didn't meet him either. He was I was at a there used to be this karaoke bar in California called Dimples. Yeah. And it claimed to be the very first karaoke bar in America. And
sure.
I was there, and noticed that he was there and he went outside, so I kind of went outside, and he was standing around talking to his friends or whatever, and they were talking about some new superhero show, and he was complaining. He was like, "Man," he's like, "Can't they make anything other than superhero shows nowadays?" And I was like, "All right, I guess I'm not going to tell this guy that like Smallville is one of my favorite shows ever." And I like went back inside.
Do you listen to his podcast?
I have heard a couple episodes. I heard like the one where he interviewed Stephen Amell from Arrow, but I haven't listened to too many of them.
He has a really, really good one with Zachary Levi, who plays Shazam.
Yeah.
But that one is one of my favorite ones. The one with Bob Saget is a really
I bet
good
that
one.
would
So
be
you got to check that out when
okay.
you get a chance.
Will do.
But I think the point I was trying to make was his Michael Rosenbaum's Lex Luthor can fit in most iterations of Superman.
Yeah, I agree with that.
You can't say that about Kevin Spacey or
Right.
Gene Hackman or anybody else.
Right.
Who was the guy on
Clancy Brown on the animated
No, not
series?
Clancy Brown. I'm thinking live action. John Shea, Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's his name.
Yeah. I think it is too. John Shea or John Shea. You're right. John Shea.
John Shea? Okay.
Yep. Yeah, no, he was good too. I kind of almost forgot about him because he's only really in the first season of Lois and Clark, right?
I think the first
he might come back or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe
he comes back with a shaved head. I remember
right.
that. Now that's in a different season.
And as much as I love Gene Hackman from the Christopher Reeve movies, you're right. He wouldn't really fit in other iterations of Superman. Like he would not fit in Man of Steel.
Man of Steel at all.
Kevin Spacey might.
He might.
But
like Michael Rosenbaum, you could stick him right in there and he'd fit.
Yeah, I agree.
Same thing with Superman Returns. You could put him right in there.
Yeah, you could for sure.
He'd fit right there.
You're right. I've never thought about that before, but you're absolutely right. Michael Rosenbaum really would fit in pretty much any iteration.
Yeah, that's cool. That's kind of like the Joker, the different Jokers.
Mm-hmm.
Although Heath Ledger is my favorite, as far as live action Jokers, he's not as versatile or not as placeable as Jack Nicholson. You could put Jack Nicholson in most iterations.
Yeah.
Not all of them, but most of them.
Yeah, you could probably put Jack Nicholson's Joker in The Dark Knight, but I don't know if you could put Heath Ledger in the Tim Burton Batman.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, with The Dark Knight, you have to, make some tweaks.
Sure.
You have to play it a little more straight. It'll probably be like a lot like his character from The Departed.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be dope. I see the gears turning.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But that's why I think Michael Rosenbaum is my favorite.
Nice. I like it.
I know I wouldn't have been on a tangent there, but
no, that's quite all right. I like it. It's still Superman related, so that works out. I'm trying to see my next note here is it's a little bit further into the movie. Like, tell me what you think about Adam Baldwin as Superman.
He did okay.
Yeah.
I didn't like him, and I didn't really love him to begin with. Even when I did really like the movie, I was like, I don't know about that guy as Superman.
Yeah, that's how I felt the first time I watched it. I was like, because I like Adam Baldwin. He was on Firefly and everything, and so I was like, when I heard that he was playing Superman, I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. And then watching the movie, I was like, I don't know if I'm feeling it.
Not so awesome.
Yeah, he's okay. He's he does like kind of the light version of Superman. Like, oh, no problem, Miss Lane. Kind of thing. But
see, that's the thing. He naturally doesn't have a light voice.
Right. He has to.
He can't
fake it.
Yeah. So that's light for him, but it isn't. In my opinion, it's not light enough for Superman. His voice felt kind of, or not felt, but sounded kind of scratchy. Like he needed a Halls or something.
Maybe he did.
Yeah,
maybe he came in sick or something and recorded
that's that's typically not something that I expect to hear, come out of Superman's mouth. You
Right.
usually think of just uh like a mid-tone
Mm-hmm.
voice, that's very not very jovial, but has life in it.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he didn't his voice didn't have any life in it.
Right.
Adam Baldwin.
Right. I kind of agree with you there. I think, like you said originally, he did okay. He's
Hmm.
not, the worst casting of Superman, probably. I don't know who would. I don't know. I'd have to, you know, go through all the animated movies and kind of rank who the best and worst Superman is, and I don't know where he would fall exactly, but.
Hmm. Every time I hear it, I think of George Newell.
Right, yeah, exactly.
um, and I do like the actor for the well, at least the first two Justice League movies of the DC animated movie universe. I liked him. I liked him more than I like Adam Baldwin.
You talking about New Frontier, or are you talking about
Justice League War.
oh, okay, Flashpoint and War and yeah, I think from War until
I think Throne of
Justice League
Atlantis.
Apocalypse, right? It's Jerry O'Connell, right? For like that whole series.
Oh, okay. It was Jerry O'Connell, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's for the whole series. They changed
They
his
changed
voice.
him around a little bit.
Yeah, they changed his voice in. I want to say it's Justice League versus Suicide Squad, or not Suicide Squad, Teen Titans. Justice League
Gotcha.
versus Teen Titans.
Yeah, you're right. I think they may have changed it for that. But I know it's him for Death of Superman and Reign of Superman, or Reign of the Superman.
Hmm.
And I'm pretty sure it's him in War and stuff like that. So I think it is. He did a pretty good job too, actually. Jerry O'Connell wasn't
Hmm.
bad.
No, yeah, I really like Jerry O'Connell. Didn't like Lois Lane.
Really, I actually was going to say that I think my favorite out of the main three was Lois Lane. I thought Anne Heche was a pretty decent Lois Lane.
I did not like Lois
No.
Lane at all. She kind of annoyed me.
Okay.
Yeah, I was not pleased with that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
However, there was one scene when she's introducing herself to Ma Kent at the
Mm-hmm.
at the farm. That was a good scene.
Yeah.
I like that scene for Lois. It felt very serious. Like we hadn't seen a scene like that since Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a nice scene. I like that scene, and Ma Kent was, she did a pretty good job too. Swoosie Kurtz is the actress that played her. One thing I kind of miss, and I was trying to think if there's an iteration of this in any of the animated movies, and I'm just not remembering it. But I kind of miss Pa Kent, Jonathan Kent, actually like living into
Yeah.
Superman's, adult years. I think about like Lois and Clark. We were just talking about that show. Both of his
Hmm.
parents are alive on that show, and he,
Yeah.
still talks to his dad and
His
everything.
dad, yeah, his dad doesn't die until like later in the show, but he
Right.
he's there to see him become Superman.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I do agree with you there. I miss that.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe it was. I don't know about like the original comics, from the 30s and 40s and stuff. If
Mhm.
Jonathan Kent did die off, if that was kind of part of his origin story. I don't really know how much they go into the origin story in those really early comics, other than
I
him being his planet dying and coming from Krypton. But
I don't think that was original. I think they added that later on.
do you think it came so late, like Christopher Reeve? Because that's he dies in the Christopher Reeve movie. Do you think that was
Hmm.
like one of the first times that they did that, and then everything after that just kind of followed suit, or
No, I think they might have done it
before that?
before. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was just curious. I didn't know. In the when they rebooted Superman kind of in the 80s, which is one of my favorite lines of Superman comics. Sorry, just bumped
Hmm.
my mic there.
There you go.
John Byrne did a series called Superman Man of Steel, I think.
Hmm.
And his dad lives in that one, or at least for a time.
Hmm.
So he's alive to see him become Superman. He helps him and Martha help him come up with like the Superman costume and identity of Clark, of the fake Clark Kent,
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
glasses and the hunched over and stuff. So yeah, I just kind of miss that. We don't see that too often in the kind of modern version of Superman. And he's not in this movie, obviously. It's just Martha. So
No, we don't. Well, they do kind of do it in Man of Tomorrow.
do they?
Superman
I
Man of
haven't
Tomorrow.
have not seen that one yet.
Yeah. So
I own that one. It's just one of the ones I haven't watched yet.
it's very good. I
Is
won't
it?
say anything else because I get spoiled like 5 minutes of it, but I
Oh,
won't say
that's all right.
anything
No,
else.
that's okay. I mean, it is
um
Superman's origin. I feel like, but although I can't, who's the villain in that one? Is it Brainiac?
no.
Parasite.
Parasite.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Parasite and Lobo.
Oh, I forgot Lobo's in it. That'd be interesting to
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Um, so one of the things I did kind of like about this version of the story was it was essentially Lex Luthor's fault for unleashing Doomsday into the world. I thought that was actually kind of clever, making it his scientists that are digging into the earth. And I like how his scientists are kind of talking trash behind his back, you know?
Yeah. I did like that they were talking trash behind him. But for the context of when this was released,
Yeah.
I understand them making that the catalyst for Doomsday rather than sticking to the source material.
Right.
Because had they built up to it, I could see them sticking to the source material
Yeah.
a little bit more, like they did with Death and Return of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't crazy about the change, but I do understand why they did it.
Right.
Yeah, because it takes out a whole lot of exposition and saves you some time.
It does, yeah. And in the if you read the Death of Superman graphic novel, at least in that graphic novel, Doomsday's origin isn't explained. I think his origin was explained much later, like after Superman died.
Mm-hmm.
So in the very beginning, you just see Doomsday punching his way through the, thing that he's entrapped in and then escaping. Yeah. So I kind of liked that they didn't just have Doomsday just kind of escape on his own. It was, he had been trapped for 2,000 years and Luthor stumbled upon it and accidentally let him out. So I thought that was kind of, it worked for this movie. It worked.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. I forgot he just showed up.
Yeah, the graphic novel I have, I think like the first couple of panels are literally just his fist like hitting a wall, and then his fist kind of comes out or through the wall or out of the ground or something like that, and then it cuts to Superman a little bit, and then it comes back to him and he's kills the deer or something, which I like that they put that in this movie.
Yeah.
And so there was like, it was just, you didn't know who he was or where he came from, or he also was wearing that green kind of costume with the goggles, which I almost kind of wish that was in this movie, but yeah, he, as he's destroying things, his suit gets more and more ripped, and you see the bony creature that is Doomsday kind of appear.
Yeah, and then they take out the Justice League.
They do, yeah, you're right. Because I remember
the whole league is fighting.
Before
Doomsday
Superman even gets involved, he's beating up Blue Beetle and these other characters that I actually wasn't super familiar with back in the day.
Yeah,
Booster Gold, I think, is one of them too. You're right. He like just lays waste to the Justice League, and then Superman's like, "Oh, I need to, I need to step in here."
Yeah,
and that's, this movie, even though it's PG-13, and this was like the first animated Superman that was PG-13. Batman Beyond Return of the Joker was PG-13, which I remember thinking, back when that movie came out, I remember thinking that was so cool, because no animated movie that I had ever seen was ever more than PG,
Yeah.
And so the fact that there was an animated Batman movie that was PG-13, I remember thinking, that's awesome. And so when this one came out and it was PG-13, I was like, oh, heck yeah. But now, watching it now, it seems so tame compared to some of these other movies we've watched.
Does.
Superman barely has like blood coming out of his mouth when he dies. It's
and I was gonna ask you about that because I took a note on that too. The battle was not nearly as brutal as it was in the comic book.
No, not at all. When I was younger, I used to think like I would love to see a 3-movie trilogy. Well, obviously that's how a trilogy works, 3 movies. But I would love to see a trilogy.
Unless some kind of new trilogy. I don't know, bro.
I want to see a 7-movie trilogy. No, I want to see a trilogy where the first movie sets up Superman,
Mm-hmm.
and he fights a villain, maybe Metallo or something like that. And
Mm-hmm.
then the second movie would be him fighting Doomsday with him dying at the end. And then the
Mm-hmm.
third movie would be Reign of the Supermen and him coming back and all that. But I kind of realized as I got older that like an entire movie of him fighting Doomsday would probably be kind of boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I remember seeing when Man of Steel came out, because I never expected them to put Doomsday in the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
When Man of Steel came out and that whole fight scene with Zod, I was thinking this is probably the closest thing we're ever going to see to
Yeah.
a live action Doomsday fight.
Yeah. I the way I would do it, I would have Superman Dooms or Death of Superman be the plot for a Justice League film.
Oh, okay.
Because in the source material, the league is there fighting.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So kind of do it like how you do like how they did BVS.
Mm-hmm.
And introduce him in the third act. Or like maybe halfway through the movie.
Yeah, I think I think they could really make it be cool, especially with those other characters. I think you could make it be a pretty long fight and still be somewhat interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would definitely need to be longer than the fight scene in this movie.
Yes. Yes.
Although I will say, one of the notes I wrote was, while he's fighting Doomsday, Lois and Jimmy are in a helicopter, and the helicopter starts going down, and he flies to save them during that whole fight. And I wrote, that's kind of the one thing that I felt was missing from the Man of Steel fight scene with Zod, was he needed to kind of run away from the fight a couple times
pulled away
to
from the
save
fight.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I wish had kind of been in the movie a little bit more. And I think would have maybe, because the haters of that film say, there's too much destruction at the end of that film and everything. And I think if he had
done it once or twice.
Yeah, if he had, saved a helicopter from falling or saved some people from, being crushed by debris or something, I think that would have really helped. I just think it would have made it a little bit more Superman-esque.
Yeah, I think the reason they didn't do it in the Zod fight was because he'd already done it in the Smallville fight.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
Saving the guy falling out the helicopter.
I just like those moments because it shows you how Superman is just trying so hard to, he's like fighting this guy, but he's also, he's got a million things he's trying to kind of keep track of and keep people from dying, but also,
he's trying to not
take care of the bad guy.
One person die.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, that is interesting. I think that would be that would have been good to include in that fight. You're right. I think it probably would have shut a few of the haters up. Maybe not all of them.
Maybe not all of them. And I love that scene. I love the that whole fight scene between Zod and him and everything. So I don't think it's bad by any means. I just wish they had included maybe a little bit of that. I think it would have helped it just a little bit.
No, I agree. But the fight, the fight was okay.
Yeah, I didn't like how it ended. I mean, I liked that it was interesting. There was a couple moments in this movie that I thought, I wonder if at least like David Goyer or something kind of took, saw it and was like, oh, we should put that in the live action. Him flying Doomsday into space.
Yeah.
That happens in, BVS. And then there was another moment later on in the movie. Oh, it was the fight between Superman and Clone Superman. He's like flinging him with the cape and everything. There was a couple of moments that I was like, that's in Man of Steel, kind of. Anyway, but he flies Doomsday into space and then slams him back down on the earth. And that was cool. It was cool how that killed Doomsday. But the Doomsday and Superman killing each other in the comics is so much better, where they just hit each other like at the same time with such force, and it just kills them both. That I would have rather have seen than what we saw in this movie.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
The ending of that fight felt abrupt.
It did. Yeah.
And it left me feeling like that's it. Because it really seemed like right when the fight was getting good, it stopped.
Yeah.
Because I didn't expect at least in my first view, and I didn't expect Doomsday to be dead after he dropped him out of the sky. I thought that was maybe like the midway point through the fight, but no, that was it.
Yeah.
And then like Superman, he didn't even have many cuts on him. He was just tired.
Right. Yeah, it's like that. Yeah, it was kind of confusing almost. He
I'm gonna
slams
take a
Doomsday into
nap
the
now.
ground, and then he like crawls from that rubble, and he's like, "Did I get him?" And he like dies, and you're kind of like, "Wait, what? What are you dying from?" Like, I don't really understand. Yeah. So
Is
that
everybody safe?
right.
Good. That's all that matters. Ugh. That was a very dramatic, like
Yeah.
melodramatic way to
Yeah. Yeah.
die.
Yeah. Yeah, it left a little bit to be desired, especially if you've
Yeah.
read the Death of Superman comics and everything, and you know how long that fight goes on and how
Hmm.
much it really takes out of Superman and everything. Yeah, it was way too quick. It ended abruptly, and it didn't really
Hmm.
seem like Superman should have died.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it did. I mean, the fight didn't have to be much longer because, like I said, the longer the fight got, it got better.
Right.
Um,
Just need to be a
and it
little longer.
just
Couple
a
more
little
minutes.
longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little longer.
I think the other thing that kind of this movie kind of suffers from is like in the comics again, when after Superman dies, he doesn't come back for a while. There's a whole nother graphic novel that's called World Without Superman, and it's
Hmm.
the Justice League, and it's people of Metropolis living without Superman. And at the
That's
end,
one movie that I wish they would have made.
yeah, I agree. Yeah.
In that universe.
Mm-hmm.
So in between Death of Superman and Reign of the Superman,
World Without
that
Superman.
should, yeah, World
Yep,
Without Superman should have been
I
that
agree.
story. That would have been dope.
That would have been absolutely because that graphic novel ends with the you kind of see a flash of Superboy and Eradicator and so you're like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And then they start showing up in the next the Return of Superman graphic novel,
Hmm.
all those issues. Yeah, so I feel like in this movie he dies, and then it's like we might have that scene with Lois and Martha, which was that good scene you were talking about, but then like
Yeah.
right after that, Superman shows up.
Yep.
There's the Toy Man, and he's got the kids, and Lois puts herself in danger like she always
Hmm.
does, but this time, she's falling to her death, but she is saved by Superman. So he comes back very quickly, even though it's not him, but
You're right.
but
The clone
Superman is
Superman.
back in everybody's life within days. It felt like, even though
Mhm.
we are told later from the robot in the Fortress of Solitude that he had a pulse after 17 days, and then he had to wait another 17 days to hear the pulse again to locate the body.
Mhm.
So it was at least a month, but it doesn't feel like it in the movie at all. It feels like it's 2 days,
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that I really didn't like was the fact that neither Lois nor Ma Kent couldn't immediately tell that that wasn't Superman.
Right.
If you know a person that well, as soon as you are like in their presence, you should know
Yeah.
that is not Clark.
Right. I agree. And I do like how later on, Martha's kind of complaining that he hasn't called yet, which should be,
Mhm.
clue number one, obviously.
Mhm.
But I did like how when Superman was saying, about how he is the protector of Metropolis, he'll decide what's good for Metropolis or something.
Mhm.
She's like, that's not my son. I did kind of like that little moment. But you're right. No, and like Superman flies past Lois's apartment. She's like, "Oh, you missed it." Again, she should have known right away. Like, you're
Right.
not him, are you?
You're not him.
But she, I think, was supposed to be blinded by, her love for him, and he's back, and so she's just so elated that she's kind of got blinders on or something. I
don't know.
guess I'm grasping at
Yeah.
straws here.
I mean, it's plausible, but
Yeah.
I choose not to think of Lois Lane that way because I mean she's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. Like,
That's very true.
She's not stupid.
Right. And that's her job, to be skeptical and to dig and find the truth. So you're absolutely right. No, you're right. Maybe, yeah. You're right. Unacceptable.
Blasphemous.
One of the notes I wrote was I did actually really like how Lex was like upset that Superman was dead. Not because Superman was dead, but because he didn't get to kill Superman.
He didn't get to kill him.
Yeah, which I thought was a great that is Lex Luthor,
Yeah. I don't know if he would have sulked about it, but he definitely would have had some words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I could just see, like, if you did it in a live action movie, I could just see, like, when his death was kind of announced, him
Mm-hmm.
just being, like, angry, like, looking at the TV or looking at the, if he's seeing it live or something,
Yeah, yeah.
just being angry about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't see him kind of, yes, you're right, sulking about it like in this movie. It should have been
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, Lex in this movie is very villainy. He's very
Yeah.
super villain like, and I don't know. It felt out of place because nobody else in the movies like that.
Yeah.
So no, like it was really over the top writing for him.
Yeah. And to James Marsden's credit, he does a good job with it.
No, he does. He does.
But you're right. It is over the top for him.
He's probably my favorite voice actor in the movie.
Yeah.
Him and Ray Wise.
Yeah, Ray Wise as Perry White is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. What did you think about the Kevin Smith cameo?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. The mechanical spider joke. Oh yeah. Man, I loved it. I loved it. When I saw it, I don't know if you've seen the meme of Leonardo DiCaprio sitting up in the chair Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Yeah. So that was me. I was like, yo, they did it. So yeah, that was definitely me. Awesome. A few times in this movie, there was another Easter egg. It was a Jim Lee Easter egg.
Superman like the way he's standing on that.
He's on the gargoyle.
Yeah.
I noticed that too. I noticed that. I noticed that for the first time this past viewing. I didn't know that before.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were quite a few Easter eggs in there. There was another one. Oh, Lois Lane's Terrace.
Right, looked just like
exactly
Margot
the same
Kidder's,
as Margot Kidder's. Yep.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. I'd forgotten about that. I'd also forgotten that he puts on the black suit in this movie. I could have sworn it was he put on the red and blue suit, and it was red and blue suit Superman versus red and blue suit Superman, but it wasn't. He put on the black suit in this, and I was like, oh, I totally forgot.
How'd you like the super mullet?
I like that they kept it. Actually, it's it looks ridiculous, and it's funny because I don't think it's a good look for Superman, but it's also the comics from when I was a kid, and I had a couple of comics where he had the long hair, and so I kind of like it just because it was how he was when I was a kid.
Yeah,
and so I'm glad that they gave it to him for the movie, and I'm glad that they had him cut it off as soon as he defeats the other Superman. But yeah, I like that they included it at least for just a little nod to the comics.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely thought it was an appropriate nod to the comics.
Yeah.
Because when I think of black suit Superman, that's the first thing I think of. I can't see black suit Superman without the mullet.
Without the mullet, yep.
Yeah,
it's got to have it. Which it kind of cracks me up that they did that in the comics too, because Clark then has a mullet as well, and people still don't make the connection. You know what I mean? Which is hilarious.
Hey, when you leave, he shows up.
You guys both have the same.
You guys got the same haircut at the same time. I don't know, man. Something's going on here.
Something's not right. The Nicolas Cage Superman that we didn't get, I think he was going to have long hair. It wasn't necessarily a mullet, but it was going to be long hair Superman. And I wish
long
we could
hair with a receding hairline.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I cannot tell you how much I wish I could go visit an alternate universe where that movie came out so I could watch that movie. Because I don't know how. I mean, it might have been awful, but I just want to see it. I just want to be able to see Tim Burton directing Nicolas Cage as Superman. Have you ever seen there's a documentary?
Yeah.
The Death of Superman Lives. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet. I've seen clips of it, but
I really regret
that was
not buying that movie on Blu-ray when it. I mean, I think you had to buy it through their website. I don't think it actually got like an official distribution.
Right.
And I don't think it's available now on their website. I think you can still buy it digitally, but I really wish I had purchased that movie on Blu-ray because it was really good documentary, and there's some really great footage of him trying on the suits, and and even dressing up as Clark. Like their version of Clark was gonna look great. He was gonna have like a blazer with a t-shirt on underneath, and the long hair and glasses and stuff. It was gonna be, man. It was. I'm not saying it was gonna be good, but it would have been really, really interesting to watch.
That does not sound good. I mean,
you might be right.
Like I said, like you said, it sounds interesting, but that does not sound like something.
Well, and they interview Kevin Smith, and they interview a couple of the other people that did drafts of the script, and there was just some crazy stuff that was going to happen in that movie. It was just going to be insane. So yeah, I don't think it would have been good. It might have been it. In a way, it's probably good it didn't happen, because if that movie had come out in like '98 or whatever it was. I don't know if Superman Returns would have come out in 2006. It's possible Warner Brothers would have been like, no, we're not making another Superman movie.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm glad it worked out the way it did, but man, seeing those test shots of him in the suit and stuff, I'm like, man, I just want to see it. It would have been nuts, I think.
No, it definitely would have been an interesting sight to see.
Mm-hmm.
It just to see how bad it would have been.
Right. Right. I think Tim Burton was, not to go off on a huge tangent here, but I think Tim Burton was such a great choice for Batman, because Tim Burton has like those dark kind of gothic type style, and it really worked for Batman, where he changed. As far as I know, Batman never had an all black suit before. He decided to do that, and he decided to. Batman had been dark. There was the Dark Knight Returns and stuff like that, but he just decided to make it so dark and kind of in Gotham be like dirty and so it worked really well. I don't know how Tim Burton's style would have worked with Superman. I don't know. We'll never know, unfortunately. But
it definitely sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get it anymore on Blu-ray. Like, it was limited.
I haven't been to the website in a while, but I think the last time I was there, they didn't have any. It was sold out of Blu-rays, and I remember looking on eBay, and it was ridiculously expensive. But I'll look again and let you know. I'll see if I can find it. But
because I'd like to see it now.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's a great documentary. It's really really good. The only other couple notes I wrote had to do with the kryptonite gun. I wrote that Lois was very lucky that when evil Superman threw the kryptonite gun, it landed in the middle of the street and not like on top of some skyscraper that she couldn't get to.
Right.
And then at the end, I like the way that Superman overtakes clone Superman by strapping the kryptonite canister to his chest with the oil,
Yeah.
And then he blew it up, and I thought, well, that must have been a lethal dose of kryptonite, because then he dies.
Yeah, he dies immediately. Yep. So yeah.
And I wondered if that felt a little abrupt to me too, even though it was kryptonite and everything. But it's just we've seen Superman get hit with a dose of kryptonite, and he's struggling, but he doesn't ever die from it.
He's all right. Yeah.
And this guy was killed by it. So I was like, well, dang, that must have been a lot of kryptonite, or that kryptonite really got into his bloodstream or something. Who knows? But
yeah, for sure. It definitely feels like it ends abruptly.
Yeah.
Superman doesn't. His return doesn't do it for me. It didn't really feel like he died in the first place.
Right. Well, he didn't really. And I guess that's kind of how it was in the comics too. They described that his vitals just slowed down to a crawl, and he appeared dead to everybody, but he really was still technically alive.
Yeah, that allows his body to heal.
Right.
Yeah. But I didn't like how abbreviated it was. Like the whole thing just felt very.
That's the biggest. Yeah, that's my biggest complaint about the whole thing is it's just too quick in general. It feels there's too much story here and not enough time to tell it.
Yep.
Now, one of the things I really do like about the movie, even though this is also something that is improved with the future animated movies down the line, I actually really like the music in it. It's just that the music feels like it was, and I'm pretty sure that most of the composers for these animated movies are probably just one guy and a computer.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like maybe the computer programs that they are using have gotten a lot better because it sounds like it came from a computer.
Yes, I agree.
It is I think the music is good still. I like the theme. You know, I like Superman's theme in the movie and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I have the soundtrack on my phone, but it's just the quality of the instruments and stuff like that sounds a little cheap, I guess is the way to put it.
No, you're right. I agree. That I wrote the same thing. I really did enjoy the music. It kind of reminded me of the Tim verse a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But like you said, it felt very synthetic.
Yes, it does. Yeah. Well, cool. Well, how about we go into rating the movie?
Yeah. You want to do the honors?
Sure, I'll go first. I think I was probably going to end up giving it a higher score, but now that we've talked about it, I'm like, well, maybe, you know what? I don't know. Let's see. I usually do, a 5-star rating.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like this movie is kind of middle of the road, so I'm going to give it, gosh, I didn't think I was going to go this low, but I think I'm going to give it 2.5 stars.
2.5 stars. I thought you were going to say 3.
Well, that's what I was. It's in between 2.5 and 3, I think. Because I don't hate it. I think I can sit down and watch it. I did today, obviously, but I just don't think it maybe it just doesn't hold up.
No, I agree.
14 years old, and maybe it doesn't quite hold up anymore.
Yeah. As for me, I do mine on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'm right there with you. Mine is a 6.4.
There you go. Okay.
So it's like just above average.
Yeah. That seems fair.
A smidge above average.
Right. Yeah. If I could, if I was doing 3/4 stars, it might be like 2.75 stars.
2.756876.
Right, yeah, 3 repeating. Yeah, that type of thing. Well, hey, we'd love to know what you think about Superman Doomsday. You can always let us know at cinemaheroes.com. You can leave us a comment on our Instagram or tweet at us. Both handles are Cinema Heroes. You can also comment on our Facebook, facebook.com/SM and SM Podcast. And Stu, you can reach out to Stu by let us know how you can get in touch with, or how people can get in touch with you, Stu.
I'm on YouTube at SmoothJStew. Just type that in the search bar. That's just one word, SmoothJStew. I do movie reviews, physical media updates. I also have a show called Studio Time. And I'm also part of my own podcast, which we need to get back on. Nerd Talk with my buddy Alex Thomas. So go check that out. And you can find me on Instagram at SmoothJStew, again, all one word. So yeah, shoot me a DM if you want to connect or do whatever.
You could be a guest on Studio Time, perhaps,
yes.
I can say is a ton of fun. So yeah, Stu's content is awesome. If you are not following him, please do so because he's got some excellent stuff, and I'm a big fan of his.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I think that about wraps it up for this episode. I'm Justin Speck.
I'm Jay Stu.
As always, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing.